What is up, squad? Welcome into the next episode of the Fit CEO podcast or Chad Molyneux YouTube channel. Today's going to be a different one. All right. I'm actually recording. This video is actually a recording for the NLCA leadership team. And this is a leadership training. However, I thought the principles that we're going to be going over in this video were universal, meaning that any of these leadership principles could be used in your business with your staff members. And if you don't have staff members, you're still leading a base of clients. So you can use these leadership principles when you're coaching your clients as well. So I'm shifting gears. I'm no longer talking to the Fit CEO listeners or the Chad Molyneux YouTube channel watchers, and I am talking to the NLCA leadership team now. So what up, squad? Welcome into this training. All right. What we're going to be talking about today is we're doing a deeper dive into the NLCA Apex Code of Ethics. As you guys know, we have our leadership team code of ethics. We also have our leadership team code of conduct. All right. So what I'm going to be doing over the next couple leadership trainings is I'm going to be doing a deeper dive on those specific principles. All right, real quick, what the heck is ethics? What the heck is conduct? So ethics are values and principles, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is our belief system. All right, while conduct is behavior. Behavior meaning this is what we do. All right, so today we're going to be talking about what we think and what we believe. And then in the upcoming trainings, we're going to be talking about conduct, which is behavior, which is what we do. All right. So at the end of the day, we have just three ethics that we follow as a leadership team. All right. So these are our moral principles that define our leadership team. What those ethics are is company values and mission over SOPs. We also have lead by example as number 2. And then number 3, we have our team will only go as far as we grow. All right, so we're going to do a deeper dive into each of the 3, starting with company values and mission over SOPs. All right, so where was this one derived from? Our vision for NLCA is we don't want to just be an SOP-based company. All right. Most corporate structure lacks depth, lacks values, lacks mission, and over SOPs the shit out of everything. And what you'll hear from a lot of corporate employees is they're uninspired, and they also feel like there's so much red tape around everything that they don't have the autonomy and freedom to actually grow and create their vision within the overall company vision. And that's something that I want to stay very far away from. All right. I want NLCA to be a values and mission-based company over SOPs. This doesn't mean that we don't have SOPs, and we'll talk about that later on, but it does mean that we are values and mission first. All right. So let's go ahead and break this down. How exactly is this applied? All right. So we've kind of talked about this at a high level. How is this actually applied in our day-to-day? All right. So how is this applied? When staff members come to you asking, what do I do? Instead of saying, hey, here's the SOP, right? So when a staff member comes to you and says, hey, what do I do here? Or what do you think about this? Or I would love your opinion on this. Instead of saying, well, hey, here's the SOP, make sure you read the SOP and follow the rules. Instead, we want to lead with value, and we want to lead with values, and we want to lead with mission, right? So instead we can ask, well, hey, real quick, what do you think is the right thing to do? Which would be a flavor of truth first, right? Truth first, as we know, is a communication tenet, but it's also doing the right thing. So we can ask like, hey, what do you think is the right thing to do, right? Which gets them to think values, right? You can also say, what's the act first thing to do, right? If this is an area that you think they need to act first, right? You can just straight up ask them, what's the act first thing to do? If you feel like this is an area where they need to use mission first, you can ask them, what's the mission first thing to do, right? In addition to that, you can also say, what would you tell your kids to do? And the reason I came up with this prompt and this question is within our mission statement, one of the big, most important things is that we are trying to set the standard for excellence in the coaching industry by leading by example, right? So the next couple questions that I'm going to go through would prompt them to think about leading by example, right? So what would you tell your kids to do in this scenario? This gets them to think, all right, cool. What would I tell my kids? Great. This is what I would do. All right. In addition to that, if the person you love most was watching, what would you do? Right? This is another way of asking a question that gets them to think about leading by example. All right, great. If the person that loved me most was watching, what would I do? Great. This is what I would do. Right. And it forces them to think and then forces them to tell you the answer. All right, last one would be, what would set the standard for excellence? This is basically just copying and pasting from our mission statement. What would you do that you think would set the standard of excellence here? Now, key things to note here. All right, number one, we didn't just say, hey, here's the SOP, follow the rules. Number two, we always led with value here, right? We always led with values, tenets, mission to get them to think. The third takeaway here is we asked questions. All right, we didn't directly say, hey, here's what you need to do. We asked questions to prompt them to think with values and mission first before SOPs to give you the answer on what they think is the best thing to do. All right, if you learn anything from this training, if you start doing this with your staff members, we can create a much more value-based culture than an SOP-based culture. All right, additional ways that you guys can do this in your day-to-day would be adding values into your SOPs, right? So when you're writing out the directions, actually adding specific values in there, adding values into your meetings, your one-to-one discussions, in your chats. All right, additionally, or overall, what this is getting your team to think about values, missions, and ethics to guide their decisions, opposed to what do the rules say. All right, so at the end of the day, that's what this ethic is. It's getting your team to think about the values first, opposed to what do the rules say. All right, here are the common misconceptions. All right, the common misconception is that, all right, well, process is thrown out the window. Chad said values first, so I guess SOPs don't mean anything. That's not true. All right, that's not true. And we're going to break that down here in a minute. All right, rules by themselves are uninspiring. Even worse, rules by themselves cause rebellion. All right, and here's my explanation on why rules are still just as important as SOPs. All right, so rules by themselves are uninspiring. Even worse, rules by themselves cause rebellion. I'm going to give you guys some extreme examples here, but looking over the past 300 years, what are nations that used rules first and they didn't have any values or any mission? Nazi Germany, right? They were, or most communist countries or dictatorships, they led with rules as their predominant thing, right? They created very extreme rules. Well, what happened? Those societies collapsed, right? All communist country societies eventually collapse because they only have rules and they lack values and mission. All right, remember, rules cause rebellion. Rules cause rebellion. All right. However, all great things had both rules and ethics. Okay, so bad things lacked ethics and only had rules. All great things had rules and ethics. Giving you some examples, the United States military is the best military in the world. They have rules, but they also have morals and ethics. All right, any and all nonprofit organizations, they have structure, they have rules, but they also have morals and ethics. Abraham Lincoln, arguably probably one of the best US presidents, had rules, had structure, but also had mission, right? With his oh man, I'm gonna draw a blank. Emancipation Proclamation. All right, he had a mission, he had values, but he also had a set of rules. He had structure. All right, Tesla, they also have a mission, right? They're trying to make sure that all cars, all vehicles are electric vehicles, but they also have structure. Whole Foods, their mission is sustainable farming. Etsy, their mission is small business support, and NLCA as well, right? Our mission is setting the standard for excellence in the coaching space, but we also have rules. So at the end of the day, mission and value trumps rules, but we cannot not have rules. All right, so summing up this one really quickly, company values and mission over SOPs. All right, moving on to the next one. So number 2, lead by example. All right, so the big thing here, we must understand that our team will likely put 80% of what we put in. So always be aware of what your actions and decisions are, because they are going to impact those around you. So you have to be cognizant, what is my effort level? Because my team is looking at me as the North Star of effort level, and they are probably going to put in about 80% of what I'm putting in. So if you are putting in 70%, they're going to put in 80% of your 70%, which is what? Around 45%, 50%, right? So we have to be cognizant of our efforts. We have to lead by example. All right, specifically, how are we doing this? All right, it's going to take a crazy amount of self-awareness. To truly lead by example, you have to be a very self-aware individual. You have to be self-aware of your actions. You have to be self-aware of your thoughts. You have to be self-aware of your decisions, and you have to be self-aware of your attitude. All right, so these are questions that you should be asking yourself. What are my actions communicating to the team, right? What am I doing day to day that is communicating to the team? Am I cutting corners? Because if I'm cutting corners, they're going to cut corners, right? Here's another one. Are my actions aligned with the department's challenges? All right, often your department is a mirror image of you because they are watching what you're doing. So if your department struggles with details, if your department struggles with communication, if your department struggles with inspiration, look within. Do I struggle with inspiration? Do I struggle with details? Do I struggle with communication? And where can I get better myself to set the proper example for everybody else? All right, here's the other one. What example is my attitude showing to the team? How am I showing up every day? Am I showing up positive, right? Am I showing up in a good mood? Am I showing up putting my best foot forward, even if I'm not in a good mood, right? Am I showing up consistently every single day? What does my attitude show the team? All right, next one here. What are my decisions communicating to the team? All right, are your decisions communicating fear? Are they communicating confidence? Are they communicating that you're taking risks? You're thinking outside of the box? Are they communicating that you're being selfless, or are they communicating that you're being selfish, right? Your decisions send a message to the team, so you have to be cognizant of that. All right, how am I thinking, right? How is your thinking affecting the team? Are you thinking with abundance? Are you thinking strategically? Are you thinking logically, or are you thinking emotionally? Are you thinking negative, right? Are your thoughts aligned with where you're trying to take the team? Because it all starts up here. All right, overall, it's about aligning your thoughts, your decisions, your attitude, and your actions with what you want from your team. Because often, once again, your team is a mirror image of us as a leadership team. Common misconceptions with this one. My influence isn't that great. I can't have bad days. All right. First of all, your influence is phenomenal. All right. If I'm going to give you an example. Paige one day, actually, I'm going to give a total example. All right. So previously, when I would post the CEO videos, we would not get a ton of views. When you guys started posting them individually to your departments, our views like tripled. All right. Where almost all the team watches the CEO videos now. All right. So your influence is very, very impactful. All right. Let's address the second one. So the second one is I can't have bad days. If I'm going to lead by example, I can't have bad days. You certainly can. You certainly can, but you have to learn from those bad days. And even more importantly, if you're going to lead by example, sometimes you have to use yourself as a bad example. I've done this many times, and you guys have seen me do this. If I communicate inappropriately, if I show up with a bad attitude, if I think I sucked on a meeting, I'm going to call myself out and I'm going to say, hey guys, I don't think I did that great here. That was a bad example, right? So sometimes, first of all, yes, it's okay for you to have a bad day. Number two, you have to learn from your bad day. And number three, sometimes you have to use yourself as a bad example. All right. Why do we ascribe to lead by example? Why is this important? All right. Paige dropped this quote. This is from Vince Lombardi. Leading by example isn't the best way to lead. It's the only way to lead. And I'm going to give you some more examples. All right. Warren Buffett, right? We talked about decisions and the way that you live your life is leading by example. Well, Warren Buffett, one of the world's wealthiest people, he still lives in the same house that he bought in 1958 for $32,000. And his lifestyle reinforces his belief in frugality and long-term investing, right? So that's his belief system. And he's leading by example by not spending the billions of dollars that he has. All right, Elon Musk, he's known for his hard work, all right? And he often sleeps at the Tesla factory when the company is in production hell to show them that he's committed to solving problems and achieving goals. All right, that's leading by example. Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook. Sandberg has been an advocate for women in business, encouraging them to lean in and pursue leadership roles. Her openness about her challenges faced by working women has initiated important discussions about gender equality in the workplace. Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Facebook, has a very, very, very high position, and she's leading by example because she's working for leadership roles and she's encouraging women to do the same. That's lead by example. All right, we're going to move on to our third and final ethic here, which is our team will only go as far as we grow. All right, our personal expansion and our self-development could be the bottleneck to the company, or it could be the accelerator to the company. All right, here's how it's applied. All right, how it's applied is consistently trying to get 1% better each day. 1% in day are the key indicators there. All right, it's not that you have to get 100% better each day. It's you just have to get a little bit better, and you have to do it consistently each day over a long time horizon. All right, that's the mindset. All right, this requires adopting a mastering your craft mentality, right? It's almost like karate, right? It's almost like a craftsmanship. You have to identify this mastering your craft mentality. I am committed to being a master in this role. I'm committed to be a master as coach manager, as COO, as ops manager, right? As sales manager, as CEO, right? You have to commit to your craft. And when you commit to your craft, you're going to maximize your fullest potential, which requires you to read, listen to podcasts, listen to trainings like this. And if you're truly going to master your craft, and if I'm being honest, it's going to have to happen in off work hours, right? You're going to have to do trainings in off work hours. You're going to have to read in off work hours. A true master in their craft dedicates time in their off work hours. All right, number 3, it's going to require a level of obsession. Some people will say, I do not get what you are doing. It is going to require a level of obsession. It is also going to require you to adopt a student mentality, which means that you need to balance swagger with being humble. All right, look, it's good to have a little bit of swagger. It's good to have a little bit of cockiness. It's good to think that you are great at your role. You have to balance that with being humble, because you can't possibly learn if you don't have a student mentality. And you can't have a student mentality if there isn't a bit of humble inside of you. The next one here, to master learning, you need to also teach. Okay, so I want to see you guys on your department meetings. You guys got to teach. In your chats, you guys got to teach. It's learn, do, teach. Got to learn it, got to do it, got to be it, and then got to teach it. All right, common misconceptions here. I'm already at the top of my role, so why do I need to learn more? All right, at this point, if you are a leader, it's not just about you anymore. The reason that you are learning is not just for your own personal growth. It is also for the growth of the people that you are leading. Because if essentially your learnings is the bottleneck for everybody else. So if you do not continue to learn, if you do not expand your capacity, you can't possibly expand the capacity of the people underneath you. All right, next one here is the next common misconception is, if I learned it once, I'm good. Huge misconception. All right, we throw this term out a lot. It's better to be reminded than it is to be taught. I got this statistic for you guys. On average, you only retain 10% of a book's info after reading it one time, which would mean, in theory, that you would have to read a book 10 times to fully understand all of its information. All right, let's end it with this. Why do we ascribe to our team will only go as far as we grow? All right, once again, we are our team's capacity. We create the vacuum of growth. And because we bear that responsibility, we must grow. Meaning, if this was a fishbowl, we can only create a bigger fishbowl if we continue to learn. All right, otherwise that fishbowl stays the same. And if the people within the fishbowl grow, they're going to outgrow that fishbowl, and they're not going to be in your department anymore. We bear that responsibility, which means we need to continue to learn. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Kobe Bryant, when he was alive and when he was playing, he would wake up at 3 a.m. to shoot hoops. All right, Warren Buffett reads 5 hours a day. Bill Gates reads 50 books a year. All right, so that's going to wrap up. We only grow. The team will only grow as far as we do. All right, y'all, that's the summary of the NLCA Code of Ethics. I hope you guys learned. I hope you guys enjoyed. I want to see this applied in your department meetings, in your department chats, and within the leadership chat as well. Till next time. Peace.